It's like the night you bumped your head, Yellow.
Maybe Pedro's got him on
Can you guys hear
replay.
us? Say
Am I
something.
on mute?
Say
No.
what? Every
Say
time you
what?
hear something stupid, say what?
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 Where's Labra? Labra would make this less autistic.
I
No.
said what?
Labra? Less autistic? No.
No, that's
You,
how
you
autistic.
think you're thinking of the wrong dog.
Okay, until Preston comes in, he's in the helicopter now. He's getting ready. This is a story from Miami that I learned from our good friend Anders. So there's the toxic happy hour party happening, and it's packed. Like there's no other room. There's no other tickets. People Anders is like
Kicking people out.
denying the entrance to a lot of people, and it's sad. Like, and all of a sudden, when everybody's drinking their drinks and having fun, poof, a potato appears out of nowhere. Andres like, Craig, you didn't have a ticket, because I remember I offered you to put you on a guest list, and you said no or something. I offered
Yeah, I
to
wasn't.
get
I
you
told him I wasn't going to be in
for,
Miami.
I offered you to get you in for free, and you said no. So how you got in? And Craig is like, "Oh, you see that wall? I jumped it."
Okay, here's what I don't
Wait,
get.
wait.
Here's what I don't get.
First question is
How high was the wall?
How 10 feet tall?
No,
How?
but
It's about
it was
10
a
feet. Yeah.
rooftop. It was a rooftop, so I don't understand what wall you jumped.
Wait. Okay, first the question is it's Craig, right? It's our potato. So the question is how, right?
Like jumping. Like forget the wall, just jumping.
The second the second thing
Craig can't
the
jump
se-
over a credit card.
the second
Clearly, I can make it over a 10-foot wall.
the second thing is, and most I think funny for me, is why. And the reasoning behind that is that he entered the wrong elevator, as I understand it. He
Yes.
went up. He went up in the rooftop of the next building, and then
Wait,
his solution. The solution wasn't to just go back down and enter it properly. No, the solution was to figure out a way to construct a bridge and a stoop and somewhere to step on. So he found some drums with concrete, and he created like a real life Minecraft kind of device in order to step on and jump over the wall.
Look, it worked. All right.
And
So if it's stupid and it
and
works, it's
again,
not
I
stupid.
have to. I'm laughing my ass so I was laughing so much when Anders was telling the story, and the guy was like a little bit pissed, a little bit that you entered like the crash the party, but at the same time he was like, he didn't have to. I offered him like he could end. Why would he do that? And I was like, that's our potato. There's no explain. That's what he does. That's what he does. That's why we call him potato.
Look, I had just taken a shower, right? And I decided I'd take a nice stroll over to this place. It's like a mile away. And Miami's hot as
where'd you
hell.
take a shower? Where'd you take a shower, by the way?
Well, I'd already checked out my room, so I called Sean.
Bobby's in the groups and laughing his ass off. Hey, Bobby.
All right, so yeah, we checked out of our room, and I was just sweaty as hell from playing around with the kids at the beach. And then I called Sean, like, "Hey, man, can you
Bobby, in the having party, even though you're gonna already know when we're gonna be, you guys gonna be there, you have to jump a fence or something for
Yeah,
for the culture.
for the culture.
Yeah, we'll build up a wall right next to the meme pool, and then you kind of have to jump the wall to jump into the meme pool.
I like that. I met Mr. Sailor for the first time down there. Mr. Michael Saylor. I actually
Did
bumped
he
into
did he look up to you,
Oh,
Sean?
Michael Saylor. There was another one that you were afraid we were going to think you
another
meant.
Sailor out there. He's like an ordinals version, like a bizarro version of Sailor, you know.
Oh, he's wearing a wizard outfit and
Wizard
shit.
hat on, clicking his heels. No, I met Sailor. I was with my dad, and we were just walking through the concourse, and all of a sudden he's walking around a corner, and I'm walking around a corner, and we like bump it. We didn't actually bump into each other, but we're like, I was like, "Oh, what's up, Sailor?" And he's followed me for 2 years now, since Laser Eyes, and all of us, right? And then like he's like one of my tweets, and I was like, "There's no way he remembers me." And he like looks up and he goes, "Big Sean, you're bigger in person," you know. And as he says it, Eric is next to him, and Eric's pretty short. You know, that's just the way it is. And as he says it, we actually both looked at Eric. And I was like, "Oh, what's going on, Eric? You know, how's it going?" And then we went back to talking, but it was funny. And then my dad got to shake his hand, and then he texted my mom, and he was like, "I just met a billionaire today," you know, so that was kind of cool, I guess.
What did he say to your dad, Sean?
He said, "Your son is a digital star." That's what he said. Whatever that means.
Rising, digital star rising.
Digital star.
And I said, and then I was like, "Almost as big as you." And then he didn't really laugh at that one. So it was a bad joke.
Also, let's welcome our newest member in his first official
Tater salad.
they don't. Actually, the pressure is
Apartment. I'm kind of interning with him right now, so I don't have a whole lot of time. But I'll put it down in my calendar, and I'll try to get back to you with something.
okay because we need material to steal. Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. That's why you're here.
I know. It's yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, all my best days are probably behind me, so it's probably a late edition here.
Oh, now you tell us.
Do we have to kick him out?
And we can kick him out.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can do it live.
Potato.
Do it live.
Round two.
Live.
I thought we put rope in the shitty editing department.
So I'm really excited to talk about this next sponsor because it's a sponsor.
Hey.
Preston here?
No, it's not. That was smart.
Yeah, we're waiting for Preston. We do swear that he's coming, guys. It's not a troll. He's coming.
Did we get that?
You know, at this point, I'm thinking he was trolling me.
Yeah, maybe.
I
Ooh.
mean, we're talking 15 minutes. This is a military man here.
Did you tell him that it was Eastern?
Got plenty of stuff to talk about.
Did you tell him it was Eastern Standard Time?
Wait, you told us like he was flying from somewhere. I don't.
Oh yeah, maybe it's flight
Yeah,
contact.
it's possible. He did warn me his flight might get delayed. He's flying from New York.
No,
back
maybe he
home.
fucked up the time zone.
It's all Eastern Standard between where he is and where he's flying and where the timing I gave him. So
Lost.
hard to potato that one, but possible. I don't know. How's my audio coming through? I was having trouble with it earlier.
It's a lot better now.
Yes.
Thanks.
But
So,
it's
welcome,
still
everybody.
a lot worse than what it used to be.
I'm ranting the way it used to be. Grow flats out.
No, you.
I can't.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't. I don't even have the option.
What do you ask the barber to do when you go to the barber shop, Greg? Like,
I haven't gone to the barber in years. Why would I spend money on this if I could just zip it myself?
Okay, until Preston joins, we're gonna have a guest, okay?
Oh,
Who?
Bobby.
Do I have to remake my sandwich menu?
you might
Yes.
have to.
He's too much of a boomer. He'll forget by the time I get to yellow special.
He may be asleep by the time you get to yellow stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, that's more appropriate.
The best part about Toxic Happy Hour was that Puppy made some embarrassing moves back in the day, but they ended up working pretty well.
They were amazing.
Because he slept on Breed Love, which ended up working well, and then
Which is fantastic.
and then he was making fun of Nick Carter the whole time he was on there, unknowingly making fun of him by calling him Nick Lovin. And Andy had super bad on in the background behind him because Nick Carter looks like Nick. They were calling him Nick Lovin. And this is when they liked him. But then they both ended up being-
I have to watch back the one with Udi because they had Udi on as well.
Yeah, I bet they
They had
did.
Udi on Toxic Happy
Oh,
Hour?
yeah, I
Yeah, you don't remember that?
Yes. Yep.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Is that the
goodness.
one
You
where
said he's
Yellow
coming
was
on Yellow?
crying
We're gonna
about rule number 2 being too strong?
No, that was today or yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was yesterday, I think.
Yeah. Yellow. A recap.
What happened?
You had a meltdown yesterday and you punched the wall. You want to elaborate a little bit?
I didn't do that. Who says that?
That's what I heard.
What?
Yeah,
said
you
that?
had a total meltdown.
I did?
Oh, the
Yeah.
man, the myth, the legend.
too hard. You guys
I think you probably made Andrews cry or something.
Nah. We're done that. Bobby, are we done that? We're done that, Bobby.
Puppy.
Check 1 2 1 2.
You're
Hello.
here. You're okay.
Puppy's face. Where's Puppy's face?
Oh, no face right now, man. Dude, look, that Nick Lovin thing. You know how that started? Is I saw the card from the McLovin thing, and it happened to be on his like a birthday, so I just posted it out there, and I said, "Hey, happy birthday, Nick Lovin," and it blew up. And people like blew up his DMs saying, "Yo, Nick, hey, happy birthday!" And he spent the entire day saying it's not my birthday.
That's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's good.
He says it's not my birthday. I said, now that I get your attention, can you jump in? Oh, sorry.
Bobby, I'm curious. You've been rocking a broken closet door for the better part of 4 years now. Do you have a set time within which you think you might fix that, or is it a Bitcoin price, or is it that's just how the closet is, and that's how we're gonna leave it type of deal?
3 halvings. I promised myself that 3 halvings I will fix this.
You started buying in 2017 December, if I remember correctly.
Well,
Oh yeah, and what all did he buy in December 2017?
Oh, he bought some Litecoin.
I've never
That was
told
the
this.
silver to Bitcoin's gold.
I've never told this story before. But
There's no way you bought all the way down to 2018. There's no way.
Preston left.
There's Preston. Flying the chopper.
What's up?
Oh.
Hey, so is this happening in like 40 minutes, or is this happening in like an hour and 40 minutes?
No,
Like an hour and 20 minutes,
sir.
You got plenty of time.
20 minutes ago is when it's happening. Come on, Preston.
is that a minivan?
Well, so I was on the East Coast and now I'm in CST time, and I clicked on your link and there was no time on the link. So
Greg,
It's okay.
what is it?
Look, it's okay. We didn't call and talk about it yesterday. It's not in the Gmail calendar invite. I get it. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
hard
Well,
to tell.
my calendar says 9:30 CST, so I don't think that's right.
No, it's
You're
not right at
live, Preston. We're live streaming to YouTube already. So
Yeah.
all. Welcome in.
I don't know if it's
Well-
safe to do the ad read and drive at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make him do his ad read while he's driving.
Let's make rope do the ad.
I can do it. Bring it,
Yeah, let's
bring it
do
on. Bring it
that.
on. I got it.
Oh, Preston's got it.
Preston says he can do it. All right.
All right. No one called
Let's
the
get
police.
paid.
Hold on. This
Yeah.
guy's gonna make me wreck.
Somebody literally sent a video in the group chat today of a police car flipping over while driving. I don't want to see that live on screen.
All right. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm hanging up. Is this in like 40 minutes?
No, we're
For real.
live, Preston.
We're literally
we're
live.
for real
Us on
live.
YouTube right now. He doesn't believe us. He doesn't even believe it. He thinks
Before we officially start the episode, Bobby, thanks for joining, man.
thank you,
We're
Bobby.
gonna see you
Oh.
tomorrow on the spaces, right?
Oh, so now I'm getting kicked out?
Yeah, bye.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
Preston, keep me in here, man. I can listen
No.
in.
Abby, it's last call, doors closing.
I'm getting ready to have dinner with the family. I need to know, is it in 40 minutes?
God damn it, Preston is not live.
We're live. He's
we're
trolling.
live right now.
Is this
Oh,
live?
good
Wait,
good Lord.
Can't tell if he's fucking with us tonight.
Bobby,
I am not. I'm a mess. I don't know what time it is.
Episode.
Greg just muted himself.
Craig muted himself.
Preston, if you go to YouTube, you'll see that you're actually live right now.
yes.
I love seeing Greg still talking.
Greg muted himself and is talking.
Greg, unmute.
Hey, I gotta call my wife. I gotta call my wife back and sort something out. I'll be dialing in here shortly. I guess this is in like 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
No, Preston, this is live right. It's live right now.
It's a test stream. It should be fine.
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay, Bobby, you can say.
Give your wife a call though. Give your wife a call.
Yeah.
What kind of operation are you guys running around?
I don't know what's happening, man. It's a meat factory. Who?
This
Like,
is what's really good for our sponsors.
Hey, I'm back. I'm back.
oh yeah, great. Fucking the Australian is back. Great.
You just dox your alto cog, Preston.
Yeah, I didn't know you had such a good Australian accent.
Okay, Bobby, tell us a story from Miami, man.
Ooh, well, look, you guys have already covered Greg Zar somehow jumping up 100 feet in the air and landing over the wall.
Yes, we did.
I'll tell you, like hanging out with Preston, man. When the first time you go to Sailor's place for a barbecue, you don't realize how massive his compound is. It's quite
You hear
impressive.
that, Becca? Massive.
Massive. Massive.
Yeah.
The barbecue was on point.
What's the security like, Bobby?
Can I jump the fence at Sailors?
Well, you can try, but the security, they don't seem too friendly.
But I'll just say I work at MicroStrategy.
Oh,
I got the shirt and all. So
So,
but
Chris in the chat is like, you guys couldn't organize a piece up in a brewery.
they were no, this was legit security because they had shirts on them. They were black and they said security right across the top. So you knew you don't mess with them. They were security.
What kind of security? What were they packing?
yeah. How many abs did the security have?
Abs?
Abs.
What were they packing, Sean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if my English is failing me right now, but I don't know, dude.
Oh my god. Preston just texted me. He thought we were trolling him. He asked if we were really going live in 40 minutes or not.
No, I'll tell you what. A lovely time at Sailor's Place. And it's pretty impressive when you walk in. There's a big courtyard, everything going on, and when you see a yacht that's pulled up to the back, like it's just a goddamn car to take you around town. I made a joke to say, I'm like, hey, can we take this out for Chick-fil-A? I just want to go down to the corner, take a yacht
It's
out.
insane.
Right.
What's happening? What the fuck
How
is
many,
happening?
Preston?
One is Labra for sure. Labra!
Labra!
I heard Labra's voice.
So
All right, guys, we're live. We're live. We're really live. We're doing this.
Preston, do you believe we're alive yet, or are we still trolling?
yes, I now understand you guys weren't screwing with me and you were being serious.
Classic.
You know what's
Welcome.
so great is this is the reality of my life. What you're seeing right now is my reality. I'm just a mess. Like,
What are you driving? What are you in?
an F-150.
It's okay. All right. That works.
Is it one of those electric F-150s?
No.
Oh. Awful.
This is really awkward. So, Greg, I don't know what's going on with the calendar invites, but my calendar is showing 9:30 tonight. I know we talked about it yesterday, but I was East Coast time. All the Miami times that I had. So listen to this. So I'm like down in Miami. Half of my calendar invites for like all the stuff I was doing down there, like some of it was an hour to the left, some of it was an hour to the right. Like, so I was doing the news desk with Sailor. Jeff, I'm walking around the conference thing, and Jeff knows I'm like a disaster when it comes to Jeff Booth knows I'm like a total train wreck when it comes to my calendar. And he's like, Preston, you should just check your calendar because like I don't think you're going on at like 3:30. I think it's earlier than that. So like it's like 11 o'clock down at the conference, and I see it's like 12:30. Like it's like 3 hours to the left of like where I had it on my calendar.
Are you using like Alta Vista calendar? What are you using?
It's a mess.
Solana,
like
Solana calendar.
Oh wait, Preston, you gotta pause. I see Rusty's got a hand up. We've etiquette here. It's he's got to talk.
Yeah. Hey, Preston. Yeah, I had a question. I was just wondering if this whole podcast was going to be about your calendar, or if we're going to. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh man.
What a disaster!
No, it's on brand. We're good.
Yeah.
Preston, you made a mistake because you took the blame. You should have blamed Greg, and everyone believed.
Oh no, it's not. It is not Greg's fault. This is
From
totally
that
my
story.
fault.
I think Sailor is in fault. It's Sailor's fault.
Yeah.
You know what? It's
yeah,
definitely
totally.
That guy's just laughing behind the scenes at all of us.
Yeah. Well, how do we pick it up from here, guys? I mean,
The chat wants to know, when is Bitcoin $1 million in Preston's calendar?
Go.
Well, whatever that's saying, it's going to be wrong. Hey, I'm going to be home here in like 2 minutes, and I'll be in my office.
We're gonna be waiting. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we believe you. We'll see you.
Yeah.
When you say 2 minutes, how much time do you
I'm not
think?
gonna. I'm not gonna.
Plus or minus 1 hour.
2
minutes
in
which
time zone? Calendar time, or is it?
So I'm really excited to talk about this.
Marcus.
So what did I miss?
Stories from Miami from Bobby.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. What were they?
Basically, Craig jumped a wall, and he crashed the party.
Where? Which party?
Bobby's party.
And Bobby asking Sailor to take his yacht out for Chick-fil-A.
Yo, Greg like crushed my soul out of my body there. What was that, Thursday night?
That was when I was leaving the pleb party. You were going up.
Yeah, I was going up.
And Preston thought that
There was a little bit of confusion.
Preston thought that Greg's wife was Greg Foss's wife.
What?
Yeah, keep your daughter away from Sean, Preston, for sure.
Oh yeah. Hey,
His wife.
my goodness,
Jesus
Sean was
Christ.
losing his mind. First thing he tells me when I show up is like how excited he is about Greg's daughter.
Which Greg? Just to be clear.
Boss.
My lord.
Now Preston's trolling all of us.
Yeah.
Why is Sean like redder than I've ever seen him?
Because I've been knocking doors all day, sunburned.
Oh, knocking doors. What's
Wait,
that
are
code
you
for?
eating seed oils then, Sean?
Seed oils? No.
That's how you get sunburns. This is what Bitcoin Twitter says, right?
The ginger, it doesn't matter how many seed oils you don't eat. If you're ginger, you get it doesn't matter.
The Bitcoin Bugle is like, so Preston can read the clock and blames Greg.
Sounds like
Are we
my
getting
life.
zapped?
Oh shit, Bubby's still here?
Yeah,
Oh,
Bobby's here.
Yeah.
I ain't going anywhere, baby.
Yeah,
I'm-
nice.
And Labra's here, right?
I saw
Labra.
Labra chimed in.
Cadabra.
Well, his
Oh, this
avatar's
sucks. I don't have my
there.
normal setup, so I can't see
Can I be
everybody.
Preston again? Preston's gone. I can be Preston again.
Yeah, sure.
Preston again. Plan B.
Yeah, you're up.
But Labra, people are still asking me, like, when are you back?
Never.
I'm on
He's
Noster.
on Noster. Get on Noster, plebs.
Have
What's
you
Noster?
been lately on Noster? It's like that.
So
I'm sorry
there's
to say.
something weird because when I post, my posts just go away. So I don't know.
Elon's still
You
after
getting
you.
censored?
What'd you say,
Maybe, I don't know.
So Preston
Become
killed our
Preston
episode.
again.
God damn it, what a shit show, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so bad. I can't wait till he invites me on.
And the
Investment
fucking
Podcast.
camera keeps on like switching all the time. It bugs me.
I know. Can we do the grid style?
I asked it, but
I think that's up to Pedro, but I also don't think he's at the controls right now. He said he was going to spin it up and walk away.
oh great.
Somebody.
Yeah, so we're
Oh,
stuck with
Pedro.
Preston is back, so I'm going to switch back to
Hey.
Labra.
Real
your
quick.
voice sounds
There
good,
we are.
Preston.
Look how professional he is
Wow.
against us. Like, dude, come on.
Oh, ho, ho.
I liked it better in the car.
Oh wow,
What you
That's
did?
what she
it's
said.
like a different guy.
Are you wearing makeup?
Look at that zoom in. Look at that zoom in
Put on
function right
some foundation.
I didn't.
how
I
they
didn't
do it.
recognize his voice in the car, but I'm sure we'll get his real
So,
voice now. There we go.
can you
There
guys
it
hear
is.
me?
You had time to coif your hair.
100%. 100% he did his hair.
Hold on, I gotta get the light on here.
He did his
I'm
hair.
curious,
He put some
where
a
in the
light,
house,
a light
in relation to
makeup
where you
thing.
parked the car, where in the house is this office? Is it upstairs? Do you have to run upstairs?
Yeah, it's three
That's
levels
fantastic.
up. 3 levels.
Three
up.
levels. Wow. Wow. Now you're
Where is
now
the
you're just
light?
bragging. Now you're just bragging.
Contango trade was good, I guess.
All right. Speaking of Contango trade, you know what? Preston, you have an ad to read, you son of a gun.
I gotta find it. Hold on, give me a second here. There we
It's in
go.
his calendar.
Okay.
Don't let it be in your calendar.
Why am I not hearing? Oh, there. This better not be in the calendar. It is in the calendar. You know what? It's on Signal here. Oh dear God. Can you guys hear me good? Is everything set up?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
If I,
Yeah,
So,
your hair looks good. You're good to go.
After that
many
intro,
people are-
welcome to the Meme Factory test stream.
Welcome
Preston, how are
everybody.
you, sir?
Welcome in.
I'm seeing my like who's Preston down there?
It's probably RD.
It's Labra.
Dude, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. This has been a disaster. Okay. Am I doing the
That
read
old
right now?
Preston.
Is that what's happening?
Right now you're asking if you're doing the read right now.
Damn it, Greg.
Yeah, man, roll with it. We're ready when you are.
We used to have these I'm gonna call them plebes. I'm sure that's gonna drive everybody crazy, but when plebes would say at West Point, they'd say, sir, may I ask a question? I'd be like, you just did. Let's go. Howdy, folks. This is Preston, and you're listening to the Meme Factory podcast, proudly sponsored by the industrious folks at Suscorp, where they're in the business of making things where they're in the business of making things and stuff, a motto as precise as their operations. Tonight, we're tickled to introduce their latest venture, the spectacular subpar Apache experience. Did you hear that? It's the siren calling all the Apache pilots, beckoning you towards the symphony of inefficiency. With Suscorp, your bird gets the full treatment, rustier than forgotten jalopy, held together with duct tape and hope. Each flight, it's less up, and away, and more will it, won't it? A game of Russian roulette with gravity. Now that's the people keep changing their the pictures there. Where am I at?
Wow.
Name page.
Where I lost my spot. Sorry.
After up and away. Will
Up,
they
and
or
away,
won't they?
Where the hell did that go? Shoot.
It went
Dude,
down
this is
like
a mess
this
today. This is just a mess. Did you hear? Okay, here it is. Okay, I found myself. Okay, a game of Russian roulette with gravity. Now that's the living on the edge. If the edge is the sheer drop into a pit of mechanical despair. Tired of those bright, sunny skies and accurate forecasts? Allow Suscorp Vintage Climate Control to serve you vintage weather updates as fresh as 3-day-old bagels. Because nothing says adventure like setting your flight path to outdated radar images. Dreading the red tape? We'll swim through an ocean of it just for you. Your diligent team handwrites each form you need with the elegance of a drunken chicken. You get to savor the experience twice, once in practice with our version, and then once more with the real one. Because efficiency is our middle name. But wait, there's more. Say hasta la vista to waking up late for the flight. Our wake-up calls start at 2 a.m. and proceed to occur on the hour, every hour. Because who needs beauty sleep when you can have beauty hallucinations in a 15,000-pound aerial tank? We'll be awake for your flight, all right, whether your brain is on board or is a different matter. So if you've been waiting for a life less ordinary, gear up and get ready to plunge into the beautiful chaos of Suscorp. Spectacular subpar Apache experience. Sign up today and experience the joy of a fast approaching breakdown. Remember, at Suscorp, we're all about making things and stuff, usually your life, more complicated. Call now.
Yay!
Very
You
nice.
get paid.
You can get paid now. And it's the end of the show.
That's what they call a mid-roll ad, right?
Oh yeah, that was mid-roll.
All right, so Preston, I know you had a long flight, probably a long drive too. You must be hungry. We've got a sandwich menu ready for you to peruse.
Yeah,
All right, let's see it.
Preston.
Oh,
Long
ooh.
day of traveling. Oh, I have a couple of sandwiches for you to choose from. Our first one is We Study Influencers.
Oh.
So this is a cow-filled grilled ham and cheese sandwich, and it comes with conference and event passes for all Bitcoin-related conferences and perpetuity throughout the universe forever.
Wow.
So very, very good. Our second one is it's a How's Your Trade burger. So it's an Asian-inspired sushi burger, and it's going to detox you faster than picking up pennies in front of a steamroller.
I like that.
And our special, it's Yellow's Don't Stop Believing.
Wow.
Red Bull for $560. 3 days.
This one's not even hard. Yeah, I'm taking yellows.
Excellent. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, that's easy. That one wasn't hard.
Nice.
We'll
All
have
right,
it
so Becky's gonna get that
short.
ready for you. In the meantime, I did have a real question for you about Ego Death Capital. I know that you've been billing yourself and as an advisor to those guys.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean? You involved in the?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I just, Jeff reached out. He's like, "Do you want to be an advisor?" I was like, I don't know what that entails. He says, "Don't worry about it." And no, seriously, if I'm going to seriously answer the question, really just kind of assessing all the companies. So like in the past year, they stood it up last year at the Miami conference was really kind of the announcement. And they've reviewed, I want to say close to 300 to 400 companies in the past year and made 5 investments so far in their first fund. And yeah, anywhere that I can kind of really add value, just kind of picking through the technical piece, or if they've done the due diligence on a company that they think is really going to be something that could move the market, or that would really kind of be beneficial for the space, then Lynn and myself will kind of get more involved in the due diligence. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. And that's a real answer. Nice.
Yeah.
So Jeff did to you what I did to you about the having party is what you're saying.
Hey, I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be awesome, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
I think you're going to get a huge turnout too.
There's already a lot of people that are going to be there. A lot of puppets, a lot of people, a lot of NIMS.
How are you gonna pin down the date? Like, when are you gonna I mean, it becomes a statistic things, right? Like, as far as when you can say this is really where it's going to happen for people to start booking flights and stuff.
We just picked a date before it'll happen, more than likely, because airplanes and hotels aren't on a Bitcoin time chain standard yet. So we're not celebrating on the halving. Maybe we will, but we're just celebrating.
So you were gonna have Michael's children or something like that, and then I think I saw.
So
There's no
that's
second
that.
best, and I mean, hey, that's what happens.
Exactly.
If I can jump in for a minute, I can tell you, Preston, it's great to see you at his barbecue. I never thought I would show up there. But yeah, when the woman that greets you at the door is from
I'm so
Colombia.
confused because I'm hearing Pubby, but I'm seeing Yellow's mouth moving.
Yeah. We are one in the same. He discovered our secret. Pubby is yellow. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, look, Sailor, that visit is incredible. But yeah, this girl that lets people in at the door from Colombia, Anders was all over that for a second, and then everyone else comes. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I will tell you this, Sailor, he's got his choice of.
Did he throw
anything
you
in the world.
out? Did he throw you out of the party, Pubby? Did he grab you by the collar and throw you out?
Of course not. You were there, man. I saw you.
I know.
Yeah. No, it was beautiful. And you lost a chess match, I think, to Daniel Prince's daughter.
Oh yeah. Totally lost.
DeLorean? Which one?
What's that?
DeLorean?
Caitlin.
We didn't finish. I'm waving. My kids are here. I hadn't seen them in a couple days. Hey guys.
And after that awkward moment, Rob has a question for Thank God.
Yeah.
Hey, Preston. Nice to talk to you.
Hey.
fellow Alabamian here. This is
Oh,
my
wow.
first test stream. Yep, I'm down here in Birmingham.
Wow.
Quick question for you. My dear friend Barry has asked in the chat, when are you going to have Greg on your podcast? He is a huge fan of yours. He actually paid me an undisclosed amount to shield him to you. He's a big Preston simp, and he wants you to follow him on Twitter. He wants this. He really needs this. He's a really great guy.
Greg.
Yeah, what Greg?
Who?
No, Barry. Other Barry wants to know when you're going to have Greg on your podcast.
I've had Greg Foss on the podcast.
No. I see what you're trying to do there. No. Greg Zodge, the potato. When are you going to have the potato on your podcast?
Look, I think the answer is that he wants his podcast to succeed and stay relevant. So probably never. But
I already had asked Preston that question. I just want to be in the background and go like,
Like,
I do have a question though, because
Sam
like
Callahan's role whenever Gladstein's on.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure like I've listened to probably every Preston show for like the last 3 or 4 years or whatever. Maybe I missed 1 or 2 in between, but I did notice, Preston, that like you're kind of getting like, I don't know, in the beginning it was like a lot more serious, like you've got like this investor crowd. You still do, of course, but it seems like you're sliding more like, you know what, I just don't care anymore. I'm just going to talk about it and say what I want. Is that something to it, or
Maybe. I mean, if I have to be honest with you, I'm tired. I've been doing the podcasting thing for, I don't know that I'm in a decade yet, but I'm getting close. And yeah, it'll wear on you, because I mean, as you guys know, it's a creative kind of process. I mean, you guys have a lot more leeway with that creativity, but for me, just kind of the type of content that I'm creating, it's a grind. I love being able to just kind of have access and just like have like really deep conversations with some really smart people, but at the same time, it's a lot of work to just kind of manage the calendar and not mess it up, which I'm really good at doing.
Is that what you're doing at Ego Death? Is you're the head calendar leader?
It's a little bit like Sus Corp for me with Ego Death. I'm basically just exercising my Sus Corp. Where entropy is your friend on the calendar. Yeah.
Preston, we had you on Meme Factory like a year and a half ago, and back then you said you were tired as well. So what's keeping you going?
Did I say that back then?
You did say. We're gonna pull that up.
Oh my God,
you did. So
now I'm just complaining.
Yeah, is it like when you're done having fun with it, you're done with it, like Drake, or what's going on?
I think I would. If I walked away from it and just stopped doing it altogether, I would probably want to come back for like once a quarter or here and there to like still like have conversations. Where I get a little bit frustrated is Bitcoin is this big long time curve like thing that's happening, and it's just not going to happen tomorrow. It's taking time. Like the broader markets, like I'm a long-term investor, and so like the day trading and like all that kind of stuff, I don't do any of that type of stuff. I just find it to be somewhat worthless to have like such a short time preference in the way that you're investing, or what I guess that'd be a long, or no, that's right, short time preference. So I get a little bored from time to time because I have these theses, and like when I'm like laying them out, sometimes like last year, it was like I was just stacking dollars, right? Like it was really boring. And like what's there to really talk about when like that's your strategy for more than a year? I mean, now I'm stacking Bitcoin with the free cash flows, and I'm not saying it's boring because there's a lot happening on the tech front. But I don't know. I feel like I would have something to talk about like once a quarter or about twice a year about maybe my thesis and where things are at and kind of what's happening. So, but and the challenge for me is like, although I really enjoy talking about the tech, because my undergrad was in engineering, and so like I really enjoy talking about the tech, but I don't know that that my audience really digs into that as much. Like they're really wanting more of an investing landscape and more of a macro kind of conversation, and so I got to kind of cater to that with the audience. But I'll throw some tech conversations in there from time to time as well. So I don't know if that answers the question, but
Looks like Rusty's got a question for you.
Yeah, while we're being serious, I had
Hey,
I've had a question.
Rusty, whenever you want to start,
Rusty,
you can ask Preston a
Rusty,
question.
go ahead.
But
Can anyone not
go
hear
ahead, man.
Rusty right now?
Yeah, unmute yourself, man.
Wait, Rusty.
Yeah, so
Test.
must be the only person that can hear me is Preston, probably. Is that right? Is that?
No, I don't think anyone can
is
hear
anyone?
Rusty.
Is there somebody talking? I'm not. I heard.
Oh, there he is. All right, we know which side of the fence you're on. Thanks for letting me know. All right,
Just
noted.
silence, dude.
Oh, there he goes. There he is. Okay.
I can hear him now.
Now we can hear you,
yeah,
Rusty.
Hand up, but
No worries. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I fixed that technical difficulty. All right, Preston.
Is anybody talking right now?
Holy shit, he's really doubling down. Okay. All right. Good times. Doubling down.
I want to hear it, Rusty. Let's go, buddy.
Hello. Thanks. I appreciate that. All right. I've been trying to ask this question on someone's podcast. You can answer this question. So in Australia, the government here was all like, we got to stop the central bank from raising rates and lowering rates because that's dumb. Let's do it ourselves. So they're putting forward legislation to take away the control of the central bank, the Reserve Bank of Australia, to raise and lower interest rates, and they're going to do it themselves how they see fit. How do you see that kind of playing out? Yeah, talk to me.
So just let me repeat this back to you so make sure I'm like capturing the question. So you're just saying the Central Bank of Australia, they're wanting to raise rates even further, and you're asking like what's their ability to actually implement that? Is that
No. The government is putting forward legislation to stop the central bank from being able to control the interest rates. So they're saying like, okay, stop doing it. Let us. We'll do it. We'll do a better job. So the government wants to control.
Okay, so the government's stopping the government from doing basically just the compartmentalization of the central bank. They're saying we want to basically, like the fiscal appropriators inside the country are saying we want to manage that now is really what's happening. Is that right?
Yeah, they want to stop the central bank doing it, even though obviously they put the people in charge and all that. But
it'd be like representatives in Congress here in the U.S. basically saying we're going to usurp this control from the central bank, and we're now going to manage that. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. How do you think that plays out anywhere?
I think it would probably get worse than it already is. And you got to realize like they're looking at that and they're saying, hey, we want to be able to politically control rates that are advantageous for our reelection campaign. So like I can only kind of speak to US politics, but like if Congress would try to take on that responsibility of the money supply and the management of that away from the Fed and handle that at a congressional level, I mean, they're going to have to set up some type of committee that's only going to have so much representation on it. And then what it's really going to come down to is how can they effectively juice the economy for who's ever currently in office in order to get that next reelection, because that's what it's all about is they don't want somebody that has independent control in order to tighten the money supply. Whoever that is, that's what they're trying to control, ultimately trying to control. Policy.
Quicker. we're good?
Well, I would say that's a really small economy in the grand scheme of things. So they're going to have to they have to kind of play to the G7 nation states that their monetary policy is the one that's truly driving the global economy. So the US, the EU, Great Britain, Japan, those are the central banks that are really kind of controlling the global economy and the move. So like the last let's just call it 2022 to I'd say November of 2022, like that tightening period was completely based off of the countries that I just named, saying that they're going to try to rein things in and get inflation under control. The Australian currency is just kind of more along for the ride within that. So they're just trying to control their local domain. But I would say they're participating in a sea of currency that's way more dominant and controlling than what they can do even with their currency. Because if they do moves that are too big, it's just going to in the opposite direction of what the other G7 countries are doing. It's going to be too abrupt. They're not going to be able to handle it.
Hey, Preston, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, question for you, dude. As we love Foss, he's always in there with us. I'm curious of what your thoughts on the game theory are. And we talk about the 184, 190, whatever number of currencies you want to talk about, that'll have to fail before the US dollar.
No, we're not talking about game theory on the US dollar milkshake theory, puppy.
Yes, we are.
The meme factory. None of that shit.
Yep. We're getting one realistic
Mute him, Greg. Mute him.
Answer. So at what point do all the rats go off the sinking ship, and you watch this unfold as countries as the game theory unfolds, one after the other. What do you think happens as it gets closer to the dollar, and they got to go somewhere else?
I mean, I've been
30 seconds.
saying since the start of this cycle that I think a lot of this is way closer than people think. And when we look at Europe in particular and the UK, and you look at their total inability to get any of the inflation under control, and you look at the rates that like the negative spread between what their rates are yielding compared to the inflation, like I'm not convinced any of that's under control. And so because that part of the market is so massive, I think it has the potential to spill into the US way faster than people think. But I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. It really depends on what the couple people in the room manifest and how much they can keep the because I mean what they're trying to do is surgically prevent this spewing into markets. I mean, look what they did with this recent backstop facility that they stood up. So like they're being really surgical with it, and I have no idea how far that can go, especially when we're saying that this is literally happening on a global scale. There's no precedence for that.
Why
for
do
it
you
to happen on a global scale?
I keep hearing you saying like I think this is going to happen, in the next 2 years to 3 years or so. And there's a lot of people that say, oh no, like they can play games and push it down longer. What is it about what differs between you and what other people say? Like,
I would put it this, I think that's fair with what you said, but I would rephrase it like this. I would just say, I get frustrated when I go into a spaces and people say, oh, this is going to be 20 years. Like,
okay,
sure. Like I can't predict the future, right? But I can talk about the arrays and the probabilities of like that. I think that that's a really improbable timeline, 20 years. I think that's really improbable. And not because I don't think Bitcoin can handle. I think Bitcoin can handle the meltdown. I think it probably needs a little bit more time on layer 2 to handle it better than where it's at right now. But I think if something like that happened imminently, like you would actually see it, the acceleration of development there would just go nuts. So then
I don't want to.
So then let's
I
talk
don't
about
really want to cut this off, but you've gone over this a million times
Yeah.
on your podcast, every
Yeah.
other podcast. And I know we got you for a limited time. So I want to make sure we get into some stuff that you've been talking about recently.
The last thing I would say, Greg, is just so then when we look on the left side of it, like the speed happening faster, all I'm trying to do is tell people, I think that it's way more in the cards than what your typical person would allocate in the array of probabilities, right? Like that's the drum I'm beating. It's just like this could happen way faster than people think. And when we look at how inept Europe has been for the last year to get anything under control, I'd say there's a perfect example of how that could really kind of spill over into the impairment could really spill over into other markets. So with that, sorry.
Yeah, no sweat. You spoke about David Deutsch recently, and you were reading some of his books on and about AI. This is the professor.
Yeah.
Have you come away with any insights with any of that work with regards to Bitcoin?
So my takeaway on all those books are that the universe is way stranger than any of us can possibly imagine. Like that's my key takeaway. He writes a lot about like the multiverse and how like quantum computing is basically tapping into the multiverse in order to conduct the calculations, because quantum computing for me is really difficult for me to wrap my head around. I've tried lots of different sources to really kind of comprehend it, and every time I go there, it gets more confusing. But his work is fascinating to me. I was talking to Jeff Booth about it probably a couple, we were out in Jackson Hole, and Jeff wasn't having it. He was like, yeah, I think it's too complex. I think it would be simpler than that. And I just don't know. I found it really fascinating. I think that he's a very brilliant thinker. The book goes into like all these various scenarios that just kind of like left me like pausing the audio. I listened to the audio tape, just kind of pausing it and saying, my God, like what I think I know is that's the appreciation I walked away with, is like, whatever it is I think I know, I'm probably like so far off the mark that you just have an appreciation for how complex the world it really is.
I've got a couple quotes from some of his books that I thought were might be relevant to Bitcoin. I just wanted to get your insight on it, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
One of the things he says is that, and this is in where the quantum computer says, all physical processes can be simulated by a universal computer. Does not mean the computer can do anything, but it can simulate anything that is describable in non-contradictory terms.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So considering what he's talking about with like computational universality, how does that change your view on the creation of Bitcoin? Is it just a manifestation of that universal computation engine?
I have no idea, Greg. Like, your question's too hard for me to like. Thank you. Yellow, like you nailed it. That was like you literally took the words out of my mouth, Yellow.
All right, and then the next question that comes after that, and it's a stepping stone, is if Augustin Carstens was a video game character, what would be his signature move?
Ooh, he'd probably throw like slimy pizzas at you or something.
I don't think he's
he's Jabba the Hutt all through and through. It's not even like a question. So like, what would Jabba the Hutt like? What would his attack be? It'd be something like that, I guess. He'd like slither over to you or something and just like, I don't know. Yeah. Oh my.
I can take this one. So
yeah,
Jabba the Hutt definitely uses his power, his money, and Augustus Carson is a very good analogy for that, because he's probably filthy rich. He would just pay somebody to, do his dirty work for him. True. That would be his special.
Look at the new guy. Look at the new guy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. That's very good.
New guy.
Very good.
So
Maybe you could pick
Fake.
if it was Pizza
Fake.
the Hut. I'm thinking more Spaceballs, so like he can maybe pick off like the pepperonis and like throw them at you or something.
That's a better analogy. Pizza the Hut definitely better than Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, pizza.
Got some announcements. Fake says Greg is a tomato, and Chris Fair says body slam. Preston, on your last podcast with Tuur de Meester, Tuur kind of proposed that like the AI is dependent on electricity and on chips, and ultimately we have Bitcoin, so the AI is going to have to negotiate with us for Bitcoin to be able to buy his energy. You didn't really reply in the podcast on his take, but I was wondering, do you agree with that? Or?
Yeah, well, so I think where this is going to get really interesting is AI is very resource intensive. So like all the processing, the storage, all of this is I think from just a processing standpoint is way beyond anything that we've seen in the past 10 years. I think it could be exponential in the resourcing demands. So I think something else that we're going to see is you're going to have competition in AIs. Like we're already kind of starting to see that. I don't know if it's going to just kind of like go in a polar immediately to like a polarized way where you have like Chat GPT and you have maybe like Elon, whatever Elon's going to try to come up with. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're going to actually have a lot more diversity of the AIs. And so some might be way better equipped to handle certain types of requests. And if that's the case, like you might only want to ping it for, 20 cents worth of resourcing, and having that settled immediately and having that basically streaming the stats for the resourcing that you're requesting it from one AI to the other, because I think a lot of it's going to be AIs pinging other AIs and whatnot. It's almost going to be like how your brain functions.
Won't the
various
AIs like fight each other to get like those resources? And like, why would they need Bitcoin? That was kind of my take. It's kind of like,
well,
when the Europeans came to South America, it's like, oh, the Indians were sitting there like, oh, they're gonna like ask us to negotiate with us. No, they just shot them and took their gold.
I'm not sure that I'm following your argument there, but I would just say what does Bitcoin offer, especially on layer 2? It's immediate settlement, and it's you can do it at really low transaction fees. So when you're thinking about the resourcing and you think about, hey, I just want to use a little bit of processing power, that might be a 30-cent transaction for the message traffic that was requested off of somebody else's resources, right? So you're basically adjudicating that cost immediately because all these AIs are going to be effectively tasking themselves. It's not going to be some person that's like when you buy something online, there's the whole process of you going through all the payment settlement and everything. Like when you got AI literally tasking another AI because it knows that it's better at some type of craft. Let's say it was going to Japan to get a language translation because some AI over there is just better than the version that we have here in the US. And that's probably not a good example, but I think the AIs are going to, almost like your brain is split between the quantitative side and a qualitative side. You're going to have AIs that are better at certain things, and it's going to know that it's got to basically ping itself against three to five different AIs to come up with a better solution than just pinging one.
So in simple terms, what are you talking about? They're going to use Bitcoin for like a kind of anchor for the real world? Or
I would just think I would look at it as just the energy settlement for all this resourcing.
Okay. So basically it's going to become like a scoreboard for them to realize who's winning what in every move they move, every move they make. Okay.
Correct.
Well, I want to take a crack at what Marcus was asking. I think Marcus was trying to make the point that why are the AIs going to need us and or Bitcoin when they could just do the same thing conquistadors did, which is just shoot you and take it. But I think, because I'm not on that side of the fence, I think
Take
AIs
take what? What are
resources in general. So
I think it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard for people to. I think that data and that information is going to be disseminated across many different servers all around the planet. I mean, it's not going to be centrally like
yeah, that wasn't
housed anywhere.
necessarily the question I was getting after though. So what I think he's saying is that
Yeah, imagine like that Terminator 2 world, right? Like the AI becomes so self-aware, whatever. It builds its own robots. It's created a
I see
way
where
to
you're
access
going.
the real world. And then it can basically, instead of negotiating with us to ask or buy stuff from us, it can just wipe us out. And why would it need Bitcoin? Why would it use Bitcoin? Isn't money something that's like is in our human biology because we have this record keeping that we want to do. We want to keep it fair, and you owe this to me, I owe that to you. Well,
I was listening to this audiobook when I was just driving down to the house. Brandon Quinham recommended this when we were in Miami. It's called Entangled Life. This all about how fungus and plants, trees are in this homeostasis together, and like how the one needs the other. And when you would go into a forest, and I'm getting to answer your question, Marcus. So how it's basically the internet, like in the forest. The trees, you could think of the trees as almost being like a web page, and the fungus that's underneath of the trees and working with the other plants are basically the hyperlinks to the other trees inside of the network. The book is mind-blowing, like really fascinating. And so when we look at nature and how why are they coordinating this way? They're competing, but yet they're also coordinating with each other. And when I look at how nature's evolved and how we look at plants and animals and dominant animals, but yet why don't they just go and annihilate everything, right? I think you're going to see something very similar kind of evolve out of AI and humans and computers. And let's just pull the thread. Like if you have this hyper intelligent AI and it's like, I can just destroy all of them and do my own thing. I'm sure if it's that smart, it's also doing a cost benefit analysis on like, well, why would I keep them around? What are they able to do to assist me in being able to continue to be the most dominant form of intelligence? And I think that if we could even understand that analysis, that cost benefit analysis, I think you would actually come to a conclusion that's in harmony with nature itself, that it wouldn't make sense to get rid of the human race.
Right. I guess I just thought it was a stretch to think that, yeah, obviously they're going to need Bitcoin. To me, that was a bit of a stretch.
Well, and so like, well, look at your body, right? So, and I use the mitochondria all the time in interviews and stuff, but few people really realize that your mitochondria has its own DNA. It's different than your DNA, right? So it's an organism that humans and mitochondria have come together and decided that it's mutually beneficial for both of those two separate organisms. Then you get into your gut bacteria, and each one of these different type of species that are in your gut bacteria has its own DNA. It's different, each one of them. So like we are in a deep homeostasis with nature and other organisms that are very different than our own DNA. And this is literally across every species in nature. Like if you would do it like incomprehensible. We don't even really fully understand. And then like one of the things it's talking about in the book is like how it's actually passing message traffic through the forest, so that if like one plant was threatened or was having a disease or whatever, it actually goes down into the fungi network and then communicates with the other plants, because it's actually beneficial for the fungi to communicate that messaging traffic from the other plant.
What?
Like yeah, it's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, you're talking about the mycelium network, right?
Yes.
So for what reason? For the other trees to like enable a kind of like defense in order for the fungi to don't lose the whatever the trees are providing for it?
Yeah, so they're doing, so there's an energy exchange, like, so the plants are really good at harnessing and collecting the energy and then transmuting that down and effectively feeding the fungi. But what the fungi are really good at is actually mining the minerals out of the ground and then exchanging that with the trees and the plants.
Okay, so there's a symbiosis there. Symbiosis, yeah.
And sometimes they're actually exchanging off seasons. So like maybe in the fall, the trees are providing more energy to the fungi than what they're actually getting back from the fungi in nutrients and minerals. But then on the opposite side of the season, the fungi are actually returning that in kind. And there's
Jesus Christ.
There's this crazy like interconnected message exchange. So I mean, this is communication.
An energy exchange you're talking about, like a
exchange.
battery kind of system.
Yeah.
So, Rusty, go ahead, man. Come on.
So for me, when I'm looking at AI and everybody who's just ringing this bell, it's going to kill us, it's going to destroy us, it's going to take over. I think what it's actually doing is it's actually revealing the inner bias that individual person might have towards just society at large than anything else. I think that it's not like AI like comes along and is completely incongruent with how nature has manifested itself for millennia.
All right, just to come back a little bit then, if I look at, for instance, the way we treat animals, right? So we're in need of trees when we build a hut out in the forest or whatever, and there might be like a squirrel's nest in there or a bird's nest. It's not like we want to like completely eradicate the birds. In contrary, right? Like the minute we go too far, we're like, oh, like this is going too far. We got to like try and take care of this stuff. But at the same time, we're not negotiating with that bird or that squirrel to take down that tree or not, because we need it, right? Because our survival is important too. So anyway, that was kind of the gist of the story.
I love this point, Marcus. And so if I was going to go a little bit more dystopian, let's just say that you have these AIs and they're literally doing all these crazy things, and like we're not even fully understand the actions that they're taking. And it's like, oh, well, this city that humans loved, maybe it just literally wipes it like just right out of the way. And maybe there's a warning to humans to get out of the way. They annihilate the city. And they're doing things that they're, because what I think intelligence and life is really doing is it's just finding the most efficient way to store and communicate information over time, right? So like they would be doing things that would make no sense to us, but to them, if we could tap into the rationale of why, like let's here in this spot, why aren't they more spread out evenly across the country? And like we all know that, well, there's a network effect that happens because you got the Hudson River there and coming across from Europe. It's got really deep ports inside of New York City so that large ships can come in, large container ships, and then there's a huge to conduct farming for our nutrition and our consumption, right? So like we can't have big cities there, or at least that's the most efficient way to do it today. And so as easy as that is for us to understand relative to a horse, right? That would be like, I don't like looking at the crazy humans and what they're doing. It wouldn't make any sense. I think we may be in a similar situation with AI, 100 years from now. Some of the actions might not make perfect sense to us, why it's doing what it's doing, especially from like the infrastructure that it's building or standing up and data centers and like all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Nice. Rusty.
Yeah, hey, on this topic, so you're saying that AI, super intelligent AI, would not wipe out humanity because it would do a cost analysis. Therefore, it would be sensible that it would also do a cost analysis on wiping out all of
Just messing with you.
What you started?
We're doing this again.
Repeat the question, please.
I guess I'll start again.
From the top.
No. Take it from the halfway. I'm just messing with you. I'm just trying to have some fun.
I appreciate that. So no serious question though. If it's not going to wipe out humanity because of cost analysis, surely it would then do a cost analysis on shitcoiners, and then that would be a different story, right?
Ooh.
I think that the and its description of all of this stuff, like very technical. I mean, you can ask it very technical questions and get some pretty exemplary responses, or at least I think they're very good responses. So I think it's going to figure it out. I think it's going to be really obvious just from the immediate settlement and
Rusty, I guess.
Or Liquid.
Rope also has a hand up.
yeah. So hey, so on Liquid, isn't that interesting? What's happening there? You guys?
Yeah, let's talk about Liquid,
yeah.
please.
Yeah, where's Pedro? Pedro.
He can't talk. It's perfect. Let's talk about Liquid.
Yeah.
Well, no. So I find it really interesting that Liquid was built. They had a really difficult time getting any type of traction on it. But now that we have high fees on layer one, what we're finding is that people that are trying to rebalance their channels are using Liquid in a way that makes it really affordable to rebalance channels. So who knows where that leads in the future? I mean, it's not like an enormous amount, but there's people that are using it here in the past couple of weeks because of all this ordinal stuff that's happening on layer one. So kind of a fascinating change that I don't think anybody was expecting. Yeah, I think a lot of people were writing it off as kind of just nobody's using it.
Yeah, Pedro. Rope.
I'm really looking forward to Pedro doing a deep dive on Liquid and then starting to pitch.
Yes, that's definitely going to happen. That is definitely going to happen.
I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna hear it later on, for sure.
Quick question. So circling back a little bit, you said how you talked about how the AIs like ping against each other to get like more efficient or something. How many pings is it going to take to straighten out your calendar for like a calendar AI?
Dude, I don't even know that is possible. I don't think that's
just lock it on Eastern Standard Time. PT.
If only the block times were steady, we'd be able to time the halving party correctly and set your calendar correctly universally.
It's a mess.
Bobby, you want to say something? Are you still here, man?
I think he's here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Rope, put your hand down unless you got a question.
Listen, so look, what's interesting, the AI, that's beautiful. Every kid until they graduate college has the perfect term paper written. That's beautiful. What I think is, I'm always thinking of James T. Kirk, Captain Kirk. Well, he was the human side of everything as we went into space. What are your thoughts when it comes to the one thing? How does AI teach itself about self-sacrifice? Because there's many religions, there's many things that you do for your family where you would sacrifice yourself. It's not the logical thing to do. How would AI ever come up with this idea that it's more, I guess, productive that you would end your own life to save somebody, to protect somebody?
Is this
Kirk coming in here?
Is this like a data episode from Star Trek or something?
No,
so good question. It's a legit
I like
question.
this question. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, it really comes to the idea of love, right? So unconditional love. When people have unconditional love for their kids, they're literally willing to give up their life to make sure that their kids or their wife or whatever. That's what unconditional love drives a person to do. Right now, we don't see any semblance of that, or at least I don't think we do with AI. But that doesn't mean that emotional type thinking or actions could manifest themselves out of AI. Like, look at how much it's evolved just in the past 2 years. Like, what's 10 years from now look like? When we look at the animal kingdom, I think there's some examples in the animal kingdom where they do. Yeah, I'm not
So
well versed on what they are, but I'm pretty sure there are.
We might see a similar mechanism getting developed by AI, but like the meaning behind it being different. Maybe the meaning behind it is not driven by love, but like a kind of like self-healing process, or like a mechanism to sustain itself.
Yeah,
that will have the appearance of like sacrifice. But the meaning is completely different. It's going to be, I think.
It's the feeling in your heart. That feeling, if you see your child in the way of any type of danger that you save, you can't program that in. I don't know how that would ever get programmed into AI.
Oh, I wouldn't say it couldn't ever get programmed. I would go, Pubby, I would just say, if I had to really quantify it, what it is it's absolute forgiveness. It's absolute. So like if my child goes and does something wrong, right? It's no matter what, I will always forgive them. And to represent that, how does a person get, I think the best they don't have that wired into them. Typically they're the psychopaths, people that are in prison that like literally like actually get enjoyment out of causing physical pain to others. A person who has an intense amount of empathy is the polar opposite of the prison inmate that is the parasite. It's empathy for other people. So somewhere in there is really kind of like what we would quantify as being unconditional love. And I think that when we get into a more superior form of intelligence, like a truly more superior form of intelligence, maybe they might actually be more empathetic than a human being. Similar to, if you go and you get a deer, like how empathetic is the deer versus just acting upon how they were conditioned in their environment and not thinking about it.
It seems like the natural path is that like we're heading down this road of cloning humans, and we're just gonna have AI dressed up as humans when they'll look like us, feel like
I think
us, talk like us, and we won't know the difference.
So the collective human race is going to condition the AI, right? So we are going to condition it through our interactions and through how we treat it. And
I have a feeling it's also going to learn how to value things through Bitcoin.
And that's why Bitcoin's so important, because with Bitcoin you're getting a properly functioning brain, right? You're not having the schizophrenic type behaviors that fiat. Like I think it would be scary if we didn't have Bitcoin, right? And all this AI was cropping up, and there was literally Bitcoin had not been discovered. You could maybe have a very psychotic outcome with AI. But I think that the fact that you have Bitcoin there to properly provide signaling between, let's just call them various lobes of AI that are going to be built, I'm just way more hopeful for what's going to come out of that.
President, what I'm thinking of is, and I think we're at the same age. I may be a little bit older, but it's this difference of logic versus emotion. And everyone that has grown up, from these old days, things of AI is like pure logic. And I look back to the beginning, Adam and Eve. Adam, a man should not be alone. Adam representing logic. Eve being emotion, pulled from the side, put together by God. But this is interesting to me. This logic versus emotion.
Pubby, when you study the brain, your neocortex, where your deep critical thinking is happening, is your outer lobe of the brain. The further in you go to the brainstem, that's where you start getting the emotional responses. So when somebody damages or has some type of virus that infects one of the inner lobes on the brain, that's typically the people that have these really violent emotional outbursts and can't control their emotions. Is a person who can't control their basal ganglia of the brain, like the inner port of your brain. So when we talk about AI and where this is potentially going, like, hey, we could be 50 years out from like developers really kind of being able to model a lot of that. But I suspect it's going to be kind of more of an extension of the neocortex than the inner part. So maybe there's no need for the emotional piece that humans have at the inner portion of their brainstem, right? Because that was for us to evolve initially. And when you look at animals and the way that they function, they're harnessing those emotional responses because they don't have a neocortex and they don't have these outer regions of the brain to think deeply. And this is another really important part on the brain. So I think I talked about this one time before with maybe Breedlove on his show, but there's this really fascinating creature called a sea squirt, and the sea squirt starts out its life with a brain. It's mobile, and it travels through the ocean. And once it finds an environment that it wants to set up, and it attaches itself to this environment at sea, the first action that the sea squirt takes is it eats its own brain. And the reason that it eats its own brain is because it's very rich in energy, and it doesn't need its brain anymore. Because once
seed coining,
sea squirts.
It's called marriage. It's called marriage.
So, well, okay, hold that thought, because you're gonna this gets interesting.
Wow.
So, why does it eat its brain?
The whole brain or part of it?
It eats its whole brain, and it basically becomes an undersea plant.
Because all the functions are transferred to the muscle memory or the nervous system, maybe.
So, like, when you think about it, like, so why does a human have such an advanced brain versus other animals that have like a not advanced brain? Like, I was amazed. I got 2 new puppies. They're like 3 months old, and they're in the backyard. Here's one literally walking in the door right now, just cracked open the door and walked in. How in the world are they able to like run in my backyard, miss all the patio furniture like they had been living for like 10 years? Like, can you imagine a human baby like can't even roll over at 3 months? So why the disparity in the genetic makeup of like, there's this huge amount of like cognitive power that really kind of kicks in later. So is it David Eastman? What's his last name? I think it's
Malakas.
Oh, he's this Stanford neuroscientist. Anyway, he has some really good books. There's one just called The Brain. I would highly encourage people.
David Eggers.
No, I think it's David. It begins with an E. His last name begins with. Anyway, so the point that I'm making is the reason you need complex thinking and being able to wire up from environmental factors.
David
Eagleman, thank you. The reason you need that is because you have to operate in a very dynamic environment. You got to be able to handle all sorts of environments. When you look at animals that have like a really complex life in the environment that they've got to be able to navigate, they have brains. when you have a species or an animal that does not move around in its environment very much, it needs way less brain power, and a lot of the coding is actually happening at a DNA level and at a epigenetics level. It's not happening at a higher order, which is brain functioning. So for the sea squirt, the reason the sea squirt eats its brain is because the sea squirt is literally going to be fixated in the exact same environment for the rest of its life, and it doesn't need the cognitive brain power in order to navigate this much more complex environment where they have to navigate around the sea. So now going to AI, the whole reason I'm telling you this. So when we go to AI, is AI going to need to be mobile? Because if it is, it's going to need some very high level functioning brain power in order to navigate that much more complex environment. Or is it just basically dwelling in these servers and basically fetching information humans that are operating in a much more complex and dynamic and all over the geographic the planet to navigate? And I don't know, I bring it up because I find it as an interesting thought experiment, but that's how nature has handled the reason and the rationale for having a brain. So now let me argue the opposite side of it, which is maybe the only way we would ever become a multi-planetary species is through AI, because it's actually harnessing a much deeper level of thought to be able to navigate a much more complex environment than just the planet itself.
It's amazing how the process of that animal that you just talked about, Preston, is so similar with the educational system we have.
Yeah,
like you're born with a brain, with creativity and all that, and you get into school and you get out like basically with no brain. That's why you see, I think, that's why you see as Bitcoiners, like most of the Bitcoiners are like polymaths, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, going back to the example that you guys were joking about earlier is like getting married. So think about these couples that have been married for 40, 50 years. They've lived in the exact same spot. They've done the exact same routine every single day. And, some people would refer to their intellectual curiosity and things like that as being brain dead. And the reason why is because they literally don't need like the amount of brain power that they're born with to do that routine that they literally have just completely etched into their brain. They've conditioned their brain that hey, these are the 10 things I do. I do the crossword puzzle in the afternoon. I would tell people that are going through like the memory loss and maybe like early stage like dementia, I think one of the best things that they could possibly do is they really got to start changing up their environment, and they got to start really kind of introducing a lot of variance in their environmental factors in their life. And I think it would really prolong or like extend out that really kind of manifesting itself. There's a whole lot more to all of this. Like I am no expert by any shape of the imagination in this area, but I would think that would probably assist in extending the lifespan of their brain functioning and normal functioning.
All right. Now, we have gone far longer this evening than we normally do, and really appreciate
it. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Guys,
appreciate your time this evening.
I'm sorry. I seriously, I want to tell you, I am sorry that
tell us how great we are.
I messed that up.
Tell us how many more times you're going to come back on the show to make up for it.
Oh yeah, I love talking to you guys anytime.
Perfect.
Anytime.
We can talk about the prequel to this whole conversation, which is that do humans have conscience?
No, we're not going down another consciousness rabbit hole. Trying to wrap this up.
I love this topic, by the way. I like this.
Let me just read one tweet then, which might give a little foresight into what's going to happen. Neuralink today just tweeted out, "We are excited to share that we have received the FDA's approval." Neuralink, the company from Elon Musk that does the brain implant. I think they use chip for that. The FDA gave them approval to launch their first inhuman clinical study.
You hear that, Rob? You have a
Leave it on
chance,
more
buddy.
feet.
Well done.
Well, can I just jump in real quick? What Preston said stuck out to me. He said that organisms that don't move around a lot in their environment need a lot less brain power. Greg, how does that make you feel? Like, would you like to respond to that at all?
The
We
worst
just
part
gonna let
about
that
that joke
slide?
is I saw it coming from the time you said organisms that don't move around much.
His brain power works for one thing.
All right, Preston, tell everybody who's still actually watching or listening where they can find
Wait,
you.
we have the
and what you're
questions.
working on.
The questions.
I know. I'm giving Preston a chance to shill his shit before we get into some.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got a podcast. It's We Study Billionaires on whatever podcast app you use, and I talk about Bitcoin on Wednesday. There's traditional finance stuff on the other days, but yeah, I just focus on Bitcoin.
Can you say it less boring?
So I have a podcast that comes out on Wednesdays.
All right, we got a couple of important questions for you. Which one of you clowns is doing the RD? Rope? You know, that's a great idea. Rope.
Yeah. I'll do it. I think I've seen enough of these things to kind of know the gist of it. So
In the
Preston,
accent, bro. In the accent.
Check your notes.
Like the British. Boy, Preston. If the meme factory did exist, and we all know it doesn't, which one of the meme factory members would you like? Which one would you retweet? And why would you mute Greg? Thank you.
Which one do I like? Big Sean and Becca. They're number one. Yeah.
Let's go.
And then what was the next one? Who would I retweet? Probably Marcus. I would retweet him.
Well,
and then
nice.
And then
I thought I'd get the block.
World of Rusty, yeah, Pubby too. I like. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty hard. And then the last one was like, why would I mute Greg?
Yeah. The real
Well,
question is, who would you
technically,
mute? But
technically, the question, yeah, why? Who would you mute?
Oh, yeah, I already answered it.
So why would you mute Greg?
Why would I mute him? He's just very mutable.
Look at this face.
Like immutable. Is that what we're saying? Immutable?
Oh, I don't know.
Mutable, like
is your mom on the bed back there behind you, Greg? Is that why you got
No, I'm out on the night this evening.
Just remember when your mom was back there.
What is happening with all the moms? The mom talk around Bitcoin Twitter get them these days.
We're all mama's boys and girls, aren't we?
That's right.
Listen, if you're gonna ask like why someone should be muted, I would defer to Becca, because what the real question should be, who would you not make a sandwich for? Because when she tells you like she will not make you a sandwich,
that was perfect.
He muted him.
No sandwich
Now,
for you.
The last question of the evening is going to go to Sean. He's going to talk about blocking.
Muted. All right, Preston. You already know what happens on block height. 840,000. So I don't know what to really ask you other than why are you excited for the halving party in El Salvador? What gets you excited about it?
I haven't been, and everybody that I've talked to that's been down there has just raved about it, and I'm really excited to just kind of get down there and see it. Like, I've seen so many pictures and I've heard so many stories. I just want to experience it myself. So I'm excited about that. I'm very excited about just the people that are going to be there. If it's anything like Pubby's happy hour, the plebe party that he threw, like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like, that was just awesome. It was definitely a highlight for me down in Miami. And yeah,
3 days.
If it's anything like that as far as the people go, like, it's just going to be epic. And I think this halving is just going to be a whopper. I think it's going to be a whopper. So yeah.
That last full run was anemic.
Is Whopper a good or bad? I don't know what to say.
It's
Yeah.
good.
It's a good
It's
thing.
big.
It's very
It's
good.
like a
Yellow.
seed oil.
Okay. It's not like wah 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 wah.
No. It's also not like seed oils, like
How do you
King.
feel when the lights come down on the city starts playing? How do you feel?
You're
That's
gonna
a
send
my
him-
that's a
God.
you're gonna
whopper.
send him to a
That's a
domestic
whopper
right
there, Yellow. That's what he. That's what a whopper is. I just have to speak in yellow terms.
Yeah. I understand.
Can I say something? Am I back in? Hello?
You just did. You just did.
Puppy, Greg's got to get to bed.
No, let me
All right,
tell you
Puppy.
something, man.
You got the last question of the night, man.
No, it's
Hit
not
it.
even it's not a question. It's just an observation. For years it's always been pleb party. Pleb party is like meet at this location. You meet at this location. It's a bunch of the plebs hanging out. What Preston and Booth and BTC Sessions, Lawrence Lepard, and Foss brought together was something different. You know what it was? It was pleb party plus, baby. And when you could put together a time for everyone that loves Bitcoin to come out, hang out, is goddamn beautiful. Sailor jumping in at the last minute, beautiful stuff. The point is this, man. At the end of the day, Bitcoin pulls us all together. It doesn't matter
That's
who
right.
you are. It pulls us all together. And we had that. And I think you guys are going to have that at the having party, man. This is why we're going to pump the fuck out of this shit up. Because I tell you what, the having party is going to be the one time you get to go down. Look, if you thought you had a good time in Miami,
It's gonna
guess
be
what?
the one time you go down, Puppy.
Well,
Puppy's
yeah,
drunk, right? You
maybe-
guys are hearing this. He's drunk, right?
maybe just
There's absolutely no way.
No. This is too early to be drunk. Come on, that's till midnight. But I will tell you this.
You running on
That-
Preston's calendar?
Fuck, man.
Yeah,
Can I
plus or
finish?
minus 3 hours.
Jesus Christ. Let me finish up here. What I'm saying, if you guys play your cards right and hire us as your main just fucking with it's gonna suck. It's gonna fucking suck down there. Don't go. Dude, it's gonna be fantastic, man. We're gonna make this a killer operation. We love you guys, man. Obviously. We're gonna knock this one out of the park.
I can't
as well.
wait. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a blast. It is.
Yeah,
You heard it. It's official. It's gonna be a blast. All right, so thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Preston, thank you for your time. Pub, we really appreciate you coming in and helping us kill some time while Preston got his calendar sorted.
So sorry.
Look,
no excuse.